All right, Ryan Fran here with Tucson News Now, here with Ryan Campbell, 19 years old from Australia, visiting Tucson as you attempt to be the youngest to go solo around the world, fly around the world. So Ryan, kind of give us an update how the trip is going so far.
Yeah, it's really good. Everything's gone relatively smoothly. It's 24,000 nautical mile journey, and I'm about 6,000 to 7,000 nautical miles in. So it's kind of a quarter to a third. It's great to have crossed the Pacific. That was a big challenge. Now I have to make my way across the United States mainland, and I'll be up to Oshkosh for the air show for the week, and then it all becomes a bit more of a challenge again, North Atlantic, Europe, and down towards Australia.
So stopping in Tucson, obviously, what are the sites you're planning on seeing? Obviously, we're at the Pima Air and Space Museum here. What are some of the sites you wanted to see while you're here in Tucson?
The main reason I wanted to come to Tucson was the Campbell Air and Space Museum and the Boneyard, something we've always heard about, aeroplanes that we just don't ever get to see back home in Australia. So to come and have a look around there was really exciting, and so I can't wait to have a look today for sure.
How long did it take to plan this trip, and what did it take to get you up in the air where you are now 2 weeks into this trip?
So it took about $250,000 and 2 years of planning. It's all fundraised. There's a lot of partnerships we've got with charities, with World Youth International, to promote youth both within and beyond aviation and try and get young kids into flying. And so it's about 2 years planning, fundraising, and full-time work to be able to take off.
So you took off a couple days after a 21-year-old just completed the trip. What are your thoughts on breaking the record? You were telling me that the record's been broken a few times recently.
Well, in 2008, the record was 37, and then it was broken down to 23, and that's when I decided to do it. I had 6 years, Since then, it's gone back to 21, and it stayed at 21. There's been two records broken at 21. So Jack Weegand of Fresno in California holds the record now. So I've got about 18 months on that record. It's just got to all go successfully. After that, who knows who'll beat it. For me, one very special thing is to be the first teenager once it's all successful. There's not many firsts left in aviation, so to have that it'll be pretty exciting.
What is it like? You were telling me one of your first legs across the Pacific, 14 hours in the plane by yourself, small plane like this that you're kind of in front of here at Pima Air and Space. What is it like flying for that long by yourself up there with nobody else but you in that plane?
The longest leg was 2,130 miles, and that was from Hilo in Hawaii to Van Nuys in California. And that's a renowned leg, nothing in between other than water. It was 14 and a half hours. So that was, I was ready to get out. But all in all, it's all part of the challenge. That's what makes it what it is. And I just, every time it gets hard like that, it was, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And now I know why they don't do it.
Do you have music in the plane, or how do you?
I do. A lot of the legs prior to that long leg, I actually listened to a lot of music. Every time I got relaxed and a bit of time, I would listen to music. That leg I didn't. I was stressing for literally 14 hours. I just did fuel calculations non-stop, and it was nowhere near as enjoyable.
What's the rest of the journey look like for you?
Across the States is good. I mean, you have a really good aviation system over here, and I fly everywhere, so it'll be a lot of fun. Still challenges, but a lot of fun to go across the States. Then it gets hard again. It's back to using the ferry tank, crossing the North Atlantic, down through Europe, down into Egypt, across to Oman, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, back to Australia. So all countries that could be reasonably challenging the way of logistics and stuff like that.
And you're doing this also not only to set the world record, but for a good cause back home in Australia.
Absolutely. World Youth International is our charity, and we're partnered up with them and created what's called the Dare to Dream Scholarship Fund. So we're trying to raise funds to get some scholarships put together for young people back in Australia, send them overseas on a life-changing aid mission. And that's my way to benefit youth beyond aviation. Within aviation, I'm planning a 2014 Australian Schools Tour, of which I'll go around and promote youth in aviation and just how you go about becoming a pilot.
Awesome cause. Good luck on the rest of the journey. Good luck and fly safe.
Cool. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.